Okay, cool. I think I'm all good.
Sweet. Okay. I guess that brings us to Bed Bath and Beyond.
My favorite.
I guess the good place to start here is probably kind of right at the start, which is what were your thoughts when Ryan Cohen bought into Bed Bath and Beyond?
You know, when Ryan Cohen first bought into Bed Bath & Beyond, I was thrown off a little bit. I still remember I was live that day. But I watched the investment happen, and I didn't say much. I didn't think that they were going to merge. I didn't think there was a bigger story behind it. I just thought he's just investing into the next thing he wants to buy, whatever it may be. But fundamentally, the price started coming down well below his purchase price. And I saw the stock at $4.64 in July of 2022. Yes, 2022. And I bought in. I bought in live on the stream. I showed everybody. I said, hey, I'm buying in. Now, normally I don't buy other securities. I just don't. I only buy GameStop and I buy Costco. That's it. People know this. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get in. Let me see what I can do here. Just let me see what happens. And when it started blowing up in August, the next month, started going up, boom, 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 going to $30. I sold. I made a little bit of profit, not much. I made maybe like 30%, 40% in that range. And I sold off. And then I started reading the headlines. I go, okay, Ryan sold, no big deal. Didn't matter to me at all because I felt he was invested with GameStop, being on the board of directors at GameStop. And I saw what was happening at Bed Bath & Beyond, but I wasn't really paying attention just yet. That's what happened back then. Do you want more than that?
Oh, no, that's great. No, I thought you were going to continue with something.
No, I could, but I'm going to wait the other question. I'm reading the other questions.
Sure.
There's so much more.
Why did you sell? What was the main reason? Was it just you saw a profit and you left, or what was
yeah. So the reason why I sold Bed Bath & Beyond was because I'm fully... Oh, my goodness, I have to sneeze. Hold on.
Bless you.
Oh, my goodness. I could feel it coming on. Guys, I hate this being sick stuff. Oh, man. But it's okay. Maybe it's meant to happen. People are gonna see me for the first time, James, and they're like, "Who's that raspy voice guy?"
You're handling it like a champ, man. Don't worry.
Yes,
it really doesn't show that much.
All right. Well, for me, oh God, I'm terrible. Let's see. Where was I on this one? Okay. Why did I sell? Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So, James, the reason why I sold Bed Bath & Beyond shares was because any profit I could take, I'm putting it right back into GameStop. Right now, I'm invested in another company called MNSO, Miniso Group Holdings. I believe in the balance sheet. I saw it, but I don't know the board of directors. It's a Chinese-owned company. So I was like, Chinese stocks are risky. I'll go for it. And I'm in it. I'm in it right now at a good price point. I got in at $18. And I'm like, okay, I see 25 coming. When it hits 25, I'll get out. I pick my exit point well before it ever gets there. The day I buy a security, I pick the exit price. I have never picked an exit price for Costco and GameStop because I felt I was being invested in those for a very long time, decades. I'm a decade trader at that point. But for the smaller ones like Bed Bath & Beyond, like MNSO, I've invested in them. I say, okay, I know where I'm getting out. So I already have my price on Bed Bath & Beyond. I had it at $6 a share. It went well beyond that. It went all the way to $30. And people will see, you don't understand. No, I understand perfectly. Everything I put in, if I can get 20, 30, 40, 50, it adds up at the end of the year, and it does really well for me.
It's interesting because I guess, because for a lot of people, they saw it as a very similar to GameStop. They saw it as like, it's heavily shorted. Arguably, the fundamentals were there, more they were looking at kind of Cohen's letter talking about how the Bye Bye Baby sort of spin-off was worth a ton of value. And Ryan Cohen jumping in all kind of made it an investment that seemed like it would be like GameStop. Obviously, you haven't seen it like that, which I guess I'm just curious as to why specifically you were just not seeing it the same way as you saw GameStop when there were similarities between the two companies, and that being the reason why a lot of people did end up buying it.
So the reason why I don't see Bed Bath & Beyond like GameStop, I'm infinitely more educated on private equity today than I was then. Back then, when I was buying in, I was looking at share price only. I look at the share price and go, oh my God, $4.64. Like, that is a crazy price. considering where Ryan bought in. That's all I was doing was that math. So I bought in as in to say, oh, this has to go back up at one point because he's in it. And at this point, I didn't even care about how he was going to transition that company or make it run because I didn't think he was in it for those reasons. And as I started doing my homework, I met a couple of individuals online that were very supportive of Bed Bath & Beyond, one being Kais Malej. And when I met Kais, we had a lot of interviews together, probably 4. And we had a lot of conversations offline. And I told him, I came to this agreement where I said I didn't think they were going to do a merger. And that's when we had a falling out, he and I. And that was in 2023, I believe, 2023. So I already had sold. I already had seen what happened with Ryan and, Gustavo Ornell jumping off of a building, unfortunately. It was just, oh no, that was 2022. Yeah. Okay. Wow. I'm losing track of my years here. But yeah, so this just happened. I probably met Kais Malej a year and a half ago. And that's when I decided, I said he was wrong and I didn't think that they were ever going to merge. And I explained that in detail in numerous videos, but you can't convince these guys of anything. Bed Bath & Beyond, the investors, so.
Oh shoot. I think that kind of wraps up my section just on that initial beginning of Bed Bath & Beyond. Is there anything else you wanted to hop in on and ask?
I think that's good now. I think obviously later on we can jump into more community specific questions.
Yeah, we're about to. Yeah, I think we'll go into then the bankruptcy because obviously that's kind of where we're heading next. Yeah. Okay. Actually, sorry. No, there was something I did actually want to ask. There was a lot of noise around when Cohen obviously exited his Bed Bath & Beyond position, with a lot of people suggesting that Cohen essentially kind of deliberately sort of inflated the price of Bed Bath & Beyond stock and essentially just dumped on retail investors who had bought into Bed Bath & Beyond. What are your thoughts? First, I guess, what was your reaction to seeing Cohen leave? And then what are your thoughts around the people that have accused it of being some kind of pump and dump on Ryan Cohen's part?
I feel that Ryan, at the time when he got out of GameStop, or I'm sorry, Bed Bath & Beyond. Oh, goodness, let me rephrase all this. All right, so the question is, what's my feeling on Ryan Cohen getting out of Bed Bath & Beyond? Did he intentionally pump and or mislead via tweets or announcements? I would say none of the above. I know that Ryan filed a filing to sell the day previous, and he told everyone that he would be selling with that filing. That's just basically tells you what's happening. But for some reason, individuals out there started promoting the fact and saying that he never got out or that he didn't sell. And then they also wanted to blame him for the pump that happened as he sold off, and other people, other institutions apparently, were buying it to move the price up. People jump on things, and this was no different. So to jump on it to make it go all the way up to 30 while Ryan's selling off in the 20s, I would tell you a lot of people are guilty of greed. So the only ones crying about it are the ones that chase things, the FOMO crowd. And at that point, that a lot of things stemmed out of that movement. So if you know the history behind Bed Bath & Beyond and the community that has been driven by misinformation, it started then and it's still going today. So that's the unfortunate part, but they can't blame Ryan for that. Ryan was on the up and up.
Yeah, Koshi. Okay. Yeah, I guess then that takes us to the... Oh, sorry, Ayaz, you were going to say something.
Yeah, it's on the that point. I think specifically there is consternation around one particular tweet that Ryan Cohen made a few days, I believe, before he released his announcement of intention to sell, which was, I believe it was a tweet that said, "At least her car is full," and it was retweeting a story about Bed Bath Beyond's stock price projected to crash.
Right.
And people took that as an indication that he was trying to signal to retail investors that it was worth holding on still to the stock.
I'd
be interested
to
know what you think about that, and
go ahead.
And whether or not you think that people were unreasonable for thinking that.
I know people like to interpret tweets, and right now the tweet that was in question for a lot of Bed Bath & Beyond investors is the one where he said, well, at least our cart's full. And it was a tweet put out there because they were saying Bed Bath & Beyond's going to, fail, per se. And if people knew to not to dive into these tweets and try to read into the deeper meaning, then I would say you're an educated investor, because everyone should be selling out of a company that does a share buyback and the stock price goes down, right? It doesn't go up. That means you're diluting your float and or you're the victim of short sellers across the board. That's what happened with Bed Bath & Beyond. And Ryan putting out tweets shouldn't influence anyone's investment. That's my honest opinion. It does not sway me right or left anyway, up or down. Any of the tweets he does, because I'm just not that guy. I read balance sheets and I understand where the company's headed. And when you looked at Bed Bath & Beyond's balance sheet, it was upside down. They ended up within the year, they had over $2.8 billion upside down on shareholder equity. If you're a great investment, you wouldn't be upside down $2.8 billion. It's just not even possible. So it was a failure waiting to happen. It's unfortunate that people didn't read the balance sheet and understand what was happening.
Just one other thing that comes to mind hearing that, which is something that I think that you said earlier on when we were talking about why Ryan Cohen has to be careful about some of the stuff that he tweets, with the example of that bro fist between him and DFV or whatever. And I think the thing that you said was that he knows the way that his tweets will be interpreted, which is why he cannot tweet sort of hidden, messages or anything like that. I wonder, with that context in mind, whether if he knew how his tweets may be interpreted, to tweet something like "at least that car is full," does that make you think perhaps that he should have been able to anticipate the way that some people evidently have interpreted that as a sign to keep in Bed Bath & Beyond?
So the question is, do I feel Ryan Cohen should have foresight on his tweets to understand how the community might interpret them? And my answer is absolutely not. There is no way that you can even imagine what's being thought up and how this other world, exists. And I mean Bed Bath & Beyond, the delusional crew of Bed Bath & Beyond. There is a statement out there that FDR's gravesite and bones were the reason and the direction that, because he had a nickname of Teddy, and that they were going to be partnered up. And I mean, you guys can't even imagine what I've read and heard from this crew versus the tweets that get put out. Ryan is not at fault. If Ryan puts out the tweet in the moment and he puts out a tweet, it's a tweet. People should take it on face value of it being a tweet. It is not a 8K. It's not documented. It's nothing that has to do with the business and or the investments themselves. So I think it's the ignorance of that crowd, and they choose to do it this way, and they promote it this way so that they can garner some type of traction, as in to say they cracked a code that doesn't exist. This is not the Da Vinci Code. This is not, there's some deeper meaning behind any of this. I wish people would knew that. So I invest based on fundamentals. Ryan, unfortunately, is learning a valuable lesson for this crowd. Or you know what, let me say it the other way. It's not Ryan's fault. Those individuals are learning a valuable lesson, because all it takes is one crazy person to write a conspiracy theory or say something. And if the crew goes with it and the world goes with it, then here's where you are. But it's just unfortunate for them. They've been lied to.
It's great. On that, just again, one point of curiosity, what do you think about GameStop investors who do read into Ryan Cohen's tweet? I think a famous example that springs to mind is there's a lot of talk about the ice cream cone, about timings of certain tweets and numbers like 741 and all this stuff. What do you think of that when it came to something?
Yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off on the question. The idea to think that 741 means something, that the tweets mean anything, that's not for me. That's not the world I live in. I live in the world of reality. I don't have time to decipher codes within the tweets. And I think that the individuals that do when it comes to GameStop, they're just bored. Or they're just out there to push out that narrative. A lot of people try to predict dates and timelines, and this is when this is going to drop, this is the partnerships that are being announced, and all of it's been false, all of it's been nonsense. So I don't care if it's a frog on an ice cream cone, McDonald's ice cream cone, whatever it be, or the chair with the chair and his face in it. Like, nothing matters to me on the Twitter side. I would prefer investors not even own Twitter at that point, and or not friend Ryan Cohen's tweets, so that they can understand just the balance sheet itself. They should be on the SEC Edgar system more so than the xtwitter.com website. That would be very beneficial for investors.
Cool. Okay, let's go on to Bed Bath & Beyond bankruptcy.
Ooh, my favorite.
Yeah. I guess what are your thoughts when Bed Bath & Beyond announced their bankruptcy? There was a sense from the Bed Bath investing community that suggested that this was all kind of part of the plan. I guess what are your thoughts around their reaction to that bankruptcy?
So James, this is a long, drawn out process. Me evaluating Bed Bath & Beyond and how I came to the conclusion. I don't know if you know the history of my channel and my interaction with that community, but if you guys don't mind, I'd like to break that down for you so you guys can get some bits and parts out of this.
Yeah, we've got that as like a separate question. I think if we're able to come to it, if you're able to answer this question with,
I'll answer this question. It's fine. At the time, tell me what you thought about Bed Bath & Beyond's reaction to the bankruptcy announcement, saying that this was all part of the plan. Yeah. Well, I would tell you that the Bed Bath & Beyond community, their investors, the ones that are out here on Reddit and YouTube and on Twitter, I think that for them to say it that way, they obviously don't understand Chapter 11. They don't understand the bankruptcy process. So, and that was very apparent from the start, and they're just misinformed. That's what I would tell you.
Got you. When the bankruptcy was announced, how did, and you saw that the community started to react in a way where it was like, oh, this is this is all part of the plan. Like Ryan Cohen is still involved, etc. How did that change your opinion of them? Did you, and also just out of curiosity, did you ever start to think about like what is the mental health or the mental state of the people inside of the Bed Bath & Beyond community as you start to see these ideas unfold?
Well, I want to state this. I don't think the Bed Bath & Beyond community is nearly as big as people would think it is. This mental state or whatever they say. I think there's a couple of choice individuals in there that are absolutely oblivious to what the real information is. But I don't think they have the movement people give them credit for. I think it's propped up on bots.
Sorry, Marantz.
I think Marantz, you just cut off when you just started that.
Yeah, you just cut off there for a second.
It's fine.
Do you mind starting again?
Yeah. So when the bankruptcy was announced for Bed Bath & Beyond, and that community all thought it was part of the plan, and I saw them transition from being believers that it was not going bankrupt and it was not diluting to, hey, this is all part of the plan. Here's the transition. Here's what they're going to do. They're going to merge. It's like they kept moving the field goal post further and further. But I don't think the community is nearly as big as what people say it is. I know that the interaction with them and their view count, they might think they have this movement. There is no movement. There's a couple of individuals that no longer have an investment. Their shares have been, extinguished and deleted. And that's unfortunate for them, but they listen to the wrong narrative, the wrong information. So their mental state is just being, I would say, ignorant to what's really happening to their investment. That was it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting as well to talk about the 8K form that came out announcing the extinguished shares. I think when you kind of had a look at that and when you saw it, do you think there's any other way to interpret what was written in that 8K form other than the idea that these shares are just effectively gone? Well,
there was two things that were written. If you read the 10Q that they filed before that, they warned you not to invest into the security. They said that they would be at the risk of any investor, that these shares were going to be deleted, extinguished, and that really happened. There's no way to interpret an 8K other than what's there. The going concern is that. That's why it's listed in the footnotes. Hey, this company's going bankrupt, and it's not a great investment. So the individuals that try to make it be something it's not, they're at fault too. But remember, these guys all live in a world that they want to believe what could happen rather than what will happen. That's the problem here.
Oh, shoot. I think I want to dive now into into I think the community specifically.
This is a hard one.
Experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we'll begin with, how would you describe and how do you feel about the Bed Bath & community and just their behavior as a whole? Yeah.
I think they try to mask the ignorance with entertainment. They say to themselves, this is just entertainment. Don't take this with a grain of salt. We have no financial advice, but there's also no education put in behind it. If they wanted to focus on what was real, they would actually focus on the private equity form of what happened to their company. And they refuse to do that. So any positive things, I guess if you want to tell me people gathering up on a Tuesday night is positive, I guess that's a positive thing. But to gather up and get misinformation, absolutely not.
Do you think there's any particular negative behaviors that you see come out of the Bed Bath community?
Absolutely. The behavior that they pushed off, that they projected onto people was, this is a risk and we're willing to take this risk and it's my money, it's not yours, and I'm willing to lose it. It was not about investing. It was not about educating yourself. These guys push out these false narratives for months already, and they were okay with doing it. They promote day trading. They promote gambling, and they actually do this banter, for the lack of a better term, where they're like, you don't have the balls, quote unquote, to hold on to a security through bankruptcy. And I'm just like, you can't try to goat me off of it. You can't push and project onto me that I'm not a man per se, because I don't want to lose my money like you. And so I don't think that I don't think it's a very good characteristic of an investor. And so that's what they lack.
Yeah. I think important as well is, how would you say the GameStop investing crowd differs to the Bed Bath investing crowd?
I feel the GameStop crowd versus the Bed Bath & Beyond crowd is night and day. I know they like to tie their hitch to us, and they'll say something like, we're the same. I have GameStop shares too. I have both investments. And for everyone trying to invest on Bed Bath & Beyond because of the affiliation and or the possible connection with Ryan Cohen and GameStop, I would just tell them, one, your investment's gone. But two, if you cared about Ryan Cohen and the investment into GameStop, you should have invested into GameStop. Because that's where he's at. That's what he's the CEO of, the chairman of the board. He has nothing to do with Bed Bath & Beyond. And when you tell them that, they'll tell you, well, just wait. Well, there's nothing to wait for. It's completely gone.
Gosh, you. I had a question, although it sort of was really more cool before when we were talking about the GameStop. Where do you kind of see the GameStop community at the moment? What's your thoughts on the GameStop community as it stands now, super stonk, etc.?
Well, the GameStop community right now is, it's a silent monster. People like to look at public forums like Reddit, where Superstock just happens to have 700,000 followers, and yet how many are active, right? And I'm not afraid of that, because I know that has a means. There's a reason why it's there and why people communicate on Superstock. But I also know there's Twitter individuals that push out information on GameStop. But then on YouTube, my channel just happens to be one of the bigger channels on GameStop. I don't know of a bigger one per se that talks about GameStop in a positive light. But think about how small the channel is. It's not even 10,000 people. But it could be. And when by the time people realize how great GameStop is and where it's headed, then maybe the channel goes crazy. And or maybe the channel goes crazy for the wrong reason. GameStop starts drowning. People want to see, me get a prediction wrong and the fail of the company. It could go both ways. Everybody likes to see a car crash, but that's what I tell you to those AMC YouTubers who got pumped up to the sky with their numbers. And even with Bed Bath & Beyond right now, the PPCs show their channel is as big as mine, and it's going further and further. I'm sure it will, because people like to see just how wrong they are and the car crash itself. But eventually they'll fizzle out, just like everyone else has around me. They've all crumbled and they've all given up on their narratives of this stock is the next GameStop. There's only one GameStop, so there you go.
Gosh, you. Cool. Jumping back to Bed Bath & Beyond then, have you ever faced any harassment from members of the Bed Bath community or other adjacent communities?
Absolutely. Facing harassment when you're online. Bed Bath & Beyond and the other communities around it who have openly attacked me, doxed me. I tell you guys my name. I'm not afraid of saying my name on the channel. I've said it from the beginning. But those guys won't do it. They won't tell you their name. They won't tell you what they do for a living. because they have zero credibility behind it. The individuals that tell you their name and where they come from, I actually give them a lot more respect. But those communities don't. Have they attacked me? Yes. Have they gone to my work? Yes. They went to my job. They saw me at my work. One guy threatened to fight me at work. Another guy videotaped me and recorded me sweeping the floors and said, I'm the janitor. I don't care if I am the janitor. If I were the janitor, it wouldn't matter. My message hasn't changed and the information doesn't change. But they recently made an account of my wife, her name, her picture, and they put on there, come visit me at my house. They put up my home address and said, I'm home alone, come visit me. They took pictures of my kids and their school names and told them to come pick up my kids at school. So they did an open attack on my whole family, sure. And it hasn't deterred me one bit. I still make videos, I still put out the information. I don't live in fear. I don't fear a single human on this planet. So I'm built different, and they'll figure that out. And they're going to lose. They're going to lose a lot of money trying to attack this information, but the information's correct. They're all wrong.
Why is it that the bed wealth community has come for you in this way? Is it just purely based off of the fact that you are promoting a different stock, or have come against their own ideas and theories?
Well, I would tell you my delivery is not easy. My delivery can be puncturing until a point, because sometimes I'll let you know just how ignorant you can be off of these investments. And I'm not coming off as this smug, promoted guy. Like, I don't feel entitled to the info. I just feel like I have to defend myself and defend GameStop at times. Certainly when they try to push out these narratives. I'll give you the example and the point. I met Kais Malej. He's a YouTuber. He's a political opponent in his country, running for president at one point back in the day. And I meet him for the first time. Very endearing man. And we get in there and we start talking about Bed Bath & Beyond. We do interview after interview. And we even talk offline. And we get to know each other and our families and whatever it may be. And we're talking about Bed Bath & Beyond. And he says, I think Bed Bath & Beyond and GameStop are going to merge. They're going to do a partnership. I said, Kais, I don't think it's happening. And I voiced my opinion. And then I made a video about it later on. And he was upset, very upset. So he called me. He says, hey, is your name Marantz or is your name Rico? And I said, well, my name's Marantz. My name's not Rico. Because I think you're lying. I think you're really in the military. I really think this, and that. And he wanted me to take my shirt off to show my tattoos. Because my brother, who's a YouTuber, just happens to be my identical twin, has tattoos all over his body. So he found my brother's channel. He thought it was me. So he attacked me. And then he spread all my information all over the internet. He's a military guy. He does this. He does that. This is what he is. And I'm just like, that's my brother. It's not me. But the attacks on me and my family just happen to be the byproduct of getting the information correct and them being wrong. So when you're losing money, James, I don't know if you've ever been enthralled into something, but when you're losing everything you have and everything you love, you'll do some outlandish things. The individual that came to my work and threatened me and wanted to fight me literally said he lost $70,000 on Bed Bath & Beyond. He lost his whole down payment to his house. And I told him, I said, I've done that too. I've learned the hard way. Good luck. Has nothing to do with me. Don't blame me for your losses. You lost because you failed and you listened to the wrong information. I've been putting out the right information about those investments for a long time. Years.
What was the objective of the person that came to your workplace? What were they intending to even do in the first place?
Well, James, I have about 400 employees that I work with. So nothing was going to happen to me. But definitely when he came to me, and I'm a big guy. I'm 6 feet 240. I'm not really afraid of anything. But the guy was a massive man. And he was just like, hey, man, I want to talk to you about the videos you're doing. Why are you walking around Bed Bath & Beyond and videotaping empty stores? That's not cool, man. And I'm just like, because the store's empty. I'm reporting the truth. I'm telling you that it is a failed investment and it's going bankrupt. And everybody told me I was wrong for years. Well, for months and months and months. And that's where PP Seeds comes into play. PP Seeds is a YouTuber in the community for Bed Bath & Beyond who has pumped out company after he was an AMC pumper, Wish, Safe Moon, Shiba Inu. He pumped out everything he could for years on Wall Street Bets. And then he developed his own subreddit. And it's since been blocked and banned. It's gone. But PP Seeds came out And he said, I'm buying into to Bed Bath & Beyond. It's going to run. Let's all get into it. He tries to instigate a short squeeze, and it never happens for him. He always buys the top and he loses. And I document this. And, so I went into his show and he had like 100 followers, and I did an interview with him. I've done 3 interviews on that channel, and they've all been deleted. He's deleted every video of me on his channel because I told them all to their face, everyone around him, you're all wrong. Bed Bath & Beyond's going bankrupt. How do you know, Marantz? Can you prove it? Can you show it? I said, absolutely. It's the board of directors. They're all tied to private equity. They've all been a part of bankruptcies. They're positioning themselves for bankruptcy right now. You're wrong, Marantz. You don't know what you're talking about. They filed for bankruptcy 2 days later after I did the last interview. There's nothing else to talk about. They're completely wrong. And now they've changed the narrative and the field goal posts, and they've done it with the backing of Bill Pulte. So Bed Bath & Beyond is, in that community, they're costing people a lot of money. And they don't care because they're making money themselves, via super chats and YouTube. And that's just the grift that's going right now. It'll all be over. Give it another year. It'll all be over. They'll lose all their fame and fortune. They'll figure it out. They're kids. They don't understand this world. So I'll just keep trugging along what I'm doing.
Yeah, we'll touch on a bit more on that
sure.
In a second as well. I guess based on some of the stories that you mentioned, I guess have you kind of ever worried for your own safety or like your family's safety based on some of these experiences you had with the community?
When it comes to feeling worried about my safety versus the community, me personally, I don't worry about my safety, not at all. I'm cautious. I'm overly cautious. Like I pay attention to my surroundings. I'm a former military police officer. And I was in the military for a good enough time to understand my surroundings. And I'm the last guy that you're going to be able to sneak up on, I would assume. But I don't worry about my twin brother. He's an animal too. But when it comes to my children, my wife, no, I don't live in this world of fear. Even my wife even said it when she found out that they were doxing her and putting out her information. She goes, let them show up, see what happens. Like my wife's that way. We're such ride or die for each other. But I wouldn't have this platform without her, without the family. And these guys can try to attack you where you're vulnerable. They're going to try to attack the children, try to attack you and your wife, and try to scare you into a corner. It's never going to work. Never going to work. Because if the information was wrong, you wouldn't be doing this. If I were wrong, you wouldn't be doing this. You'd just be like, oh, he's just a crazy wrong guy. Just tells me I'm more right than ever. James, they could kill me tomorrow. Listen to me. I'm not wishing it upon me and my family, but they could kill me tomorrow. It just means I was right. That's it.